Hello everyone, I am so glad to welcome you to my channel with this debut video of the first digital creation of my avatar. I am Sylvias, and this is my new hobby channel. Now, what are some hobbies you might see here? Well, drawing, obviously. Probably a lot of drawing, but also video games. I love video games, so I will most likely do some gameplay type things. You might also see miniature painting, cooking, or whatever other creative activities cross my mind. Today, though, starting with drawing. Now, I'm somewhat new to digital drawing still. I've been doing it for a few months now. Well, closer to like 6 months now, so a little while. But prior to that, I spent most of my life using good old pencil, paper, outlining in pen. Using Prismacolor pencils were my main medium of choice. But now, I have since switched to the digital realm. It took quite a bit. It was a bit of a learning experience. It is still a learning experience, I should say. Learning how to use all the digital effects and brushes and all sorts of things that exist in all the various drawing programs is a huge, huge learning curve. So pretty much every single drawing I do is like a whole new experience because it's just so different from your typical pencil on paper. So here, I'm just drawing my avatar character. I've drawn some version of this character to represent myself ever since I was very, very young. Of course, it's gotten much more developed over time. I went through a phase where I had all sorts of extra stuff going on, so here it's basically just, a woman with wings. At some point, I had a tail, I had horns, I had skin patterns, all sorts of crazy stuff going on, and kind of simplified it as I developed this character and pretty much just held on to the wings and the color scheme for the hair and the wings, which will come up a little bit later in this as we go through this drawing. Something I still have a little bit of trouble with is just faces, hands, and feet, of course, are always a problem. Actually pretty pleased with how the hands came out on this one. That placement was kind of unique, but actually works quite well, I think. Anyways, although the feet are always a challenge, as you'll see going through this. So as I said, this is my first video. I'm not real sure how I'm gonna do things from here on out. I want this channel to be much more laid back, just kind of whatever I feel like at the time, and in this case I'm just voicing over this recording of this drawing that I did, and not trying real hard to go stick to a script or anything like that, so there might be a little bit of awkward pauses and things like that. Notice how I started inking before actually finishing that foot, because I just struggled so hard with feet in this, and honestly, I pulled one of those tricks where the one foot is hidden behind the other leg, and there's all sorts of sneaky little things artists will do when they can't draw hands, feet, and faces. So, I certainly had that phase with the faces too, where half the face was always hidden behind hair or something else. As it is, the face in this drawing is not my favorite, but it's there, I guess. That's fine. So there I go, working on that foot again. Feet are really hard, man, and I looked at a number of different artist tutorials or just other artists who had drawn feet in a similar position or something sort of like that, just to try and get an idea of how they did it, what it looks like, what the angle should really be at. And yeah, I still spent a lot of time on that stupid foot. And I guess eventually I did get something out of it. I'm not real convinced I'm actually happy with the final result, but like I said, everything is a learning experience. You can always get better. If you think you're at a point where you can't get better, then you're doing yourself a huge disservice there. You can always improve with anything you do in life. So feet is what I'm going to improve at. And like I said, a number of other things. Artists, of course, are always the most critical of themselves. Other people see these types of drawings and are like, oh, that's amazing. And I'm like, there's so much wrong with it. But that's how we are. We always are most critical of ourselves, which is good to help us keep improving. As I said, you can always get better. So if you always see something wrong with your work, you can always work to improve it. That said, you should still recognize when you have at least some amount of talent, because there's plenty of people out there who are way, way, way better than me, and they think they suck, and it's like, are you kidding me? Your art is amazing. And, I'm sure people have that with me too. So starting on color now. Color is good. I was trying a bunch of different things. Again, I'm not very used to all the brushes. I even just downloaded a bunch of brushes for this program I'm using as Procreate. And I haven't used most of them, so pretty much anytime I'm doing a drawing and I just start on coloring, I just start experimenting with the brushes and see what looks good. So a lot of times in my recordings, the speed drawings will show one layer go down and then be erased, and then a different layer go down and then be erased, and that's just me experimenting with the brushes, because I don't really know what anything does yet, and I just figure it out as I go along. So here's the characteristic red and black, sort of shaggy, feathery wings that my character Sylvias has. I had this really cool effect with this dry brush within Procreate that worked out quite nicely for the red highlights in the wing feathers. Skin tones are something else I really need to work on. I had barely kind of gotten that down with colored pencil prior to switching to the digital art, so having then moved to digital art as a brand new medium, I gotta figure it out all over again. Skin is hard, hands are hard, feet are hard. Humans in general are just kind of difficult subjects, for me at least. I draw a lot of other things, and humans are kind of not common in my artwork. So I was messing around with some magical stuff here. That's always exciting. There's all sorts of really neat brush effects you can get with that, like the different glow pens or spray paint type brushes, all sorts of things like that. So I like playing with magic effects to get better at them, basically. I mean, by no means is this magic I have here anything I'm really happy to call a finished product. But it's a good start. I was playing with some things. It worked out pretty well, I guess. It was pretty cool. So I'm getting into the finishing touches here, adding some details to the hair. Not very easy to see. But again, that's characteristic of this avatar is red and black hair, red and black wings, and that's kind of me, what I have been for most of my art life since I was very young and came up with my pseudonym Sylvias Serpentine and created this character to represent myself. So here I am, glad to be part of the YouTube world. I hope you all enjoy my channel. If you did enjoy this video and want to see more speed drawings like this, or like I said, video games, paintings, cooking, whatever else I come up with, like, subscribe, whatever it is that you do here. I'll get better at this sort of intro and exit stuff as we go along. Thanks!